live from the United States. It's Monday night, and welcome to the latest episode of the Foxes on the Box podcast. Transfer day, and we've got a special guest. We've got to up our game because Manny is joining us. Manny from the UK, so we've got to be on our get our act together here, guys. All right.
Nope. No getting our acts together. So we're done. Just letting you know.
And you got a shitty connection again. Craig.
Bullshit. No way.
Yeah, you.
No, I don't.
You're staggering. All right. You're in charge of this party. You're in charge of this party. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what to do. I can't do anything. Y'all go ahead. There you go.
What am I doing? Oh, okay.
Here, hold on.
All right.
Oh, I know what it is.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, Mark, just you and me then. Okay. Get rid of the rabble, yeah. So, first thoughts.
The English will take this.
Yeah, I know. Get some professionalism on this thing. So, yeah. Have you been watching it all day? I saw you chopping up.
Pretty much, yeah. I was in and out, but it's been crazy watching, obviously, Lox's stream. And, I mean, kudos to him for sitting for all those hours initially with Manny. And then I want to do the late shift, like Ragsy came on and take all the glory at the end, does all the deals.
That's it, yeah. I mean, with Lox, I know it's committed, but it's not going to be first thing. We're going to be late into the game, but I didn't realize how late we were in the game. So kudos to him for actually starting and running through 4 or 5 hours, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I know I started popping onto them, but they were struggling. What can we talk about now? I think they were sort of going off on tangents, probably.
Every time someone made a tweet update or whatever it was,
yeah. So.
But finally, I know we'll come on to all the business we've done, but finally, transfer is shut, and now we can go with what we want, right? And look forward to.
Yeah.
Now we can talk about football, Charles.
I know. Yeah. But actually, don't forget that Turkey and Saudi are still open for another week. For outgoings.
I don't mind.
Daka, get rid of Daka. Come on, somebody from Turkey and buy Daka, or we'll loan him out. So people are moaning that Daka and thing I'm gone, but maybe Turkey come in or something, or Saudi. They just want somebody and take him. But
I mean, for all his, I know we get on Daka's back, and rightly so, but I think there's two sides to it. If we have really turned down, whatever they were Betis were bidding, was it 7-8 million? I don't know. We were hanging out for 10. Seems silly. But then I'm like, if he'd gone, we kind of then short again up front, up top. In terms of a body, an option. So I don't mind him staying. To be fair.
Right. Craig, we're just talking about Turkey and Saudi still being open to get people out. So
I've heard every shitty thing you said about me, Charles, while I was not on camera.
I
heard it all.
You can play it back and listen to the recording. At least somebody will listen to the recording.
I never listen back. Once we do it once, it's gone and done, and I don't care anymore. So
it goes into the abyss forever.
Yeah, exactly.
I try and critique myself sometimes, but I still have the same old habits.
So where do we start, boys? Craig, what have you got?
Well, yeah. Well, here we go. This is where we start. We're going to talk about our win the other day because we haven't really talked about that. Who scored? Transfer news, obviously, is going to be the big thing. But we do need to spend a few minutes talking about the match from Friday.
Yeah.
So here's our starting side, along with our scoring and our subs and everything when they came in. I think, let's just go down our predictions because I have them right here. And I will say, Mark, you were close. You were 2-1. Charles, you had a draw.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. No. Don't get all happy over there. Every week you think you have the best prediction and you don't. So, but I think it goes without saying. I did 2-0 Birmingham, and I think I'm going to continue that role to see it until they lose because I think that was the reason they win. So yeah. But yeah, Mark, you had 2-1 Leicester. So I mean, what did you see out of that match that gives you hope for the rest of the season? Really,
I think for me, again, let's be clear, it wasn't a pretty game to watch again. But that aside, other than we just can't make a pass or retain the ball, which I'm hoping will come. The more we get into the season. I'm going to look on the positives, which were more of what we saw at Charlton. You know, the continued the press, the pressing, the determination. You know, the fight. People putting in a real shift. I feel Samori and Skip were decent for their standards. You know, from what we've seen from them. Again, no world-beating stuff, but fair's fair. You know, they put in a shift. And yeah, so you know, I'm trying positives, right? I mean, I think what we've got to do, we've got to realize, looking at what Martis had to play with, we're 4 games in, right? If somebody had offered that with the players that have gone out, he's working with one hand, or he has been now, hopefully not now with the business we've done, but he's been working with one hand behind his back, and we've won 3 out of 4. You know, whether we've played well, you know, winning games, playing not great, let's be honest, is, you know, let's hold on to that hope. So when we do click, hopefully it's going to look very nice for us. Charles, what do you think?
It's still a work in progress, and I think we're a bit behind where I thought we were, but I tell you, against Birmingham, that was a real step up in my opinion. I could see a lot more. There was again, they were doing special set pieces. A couple of them sort of came off, but they're trying that a lot. And then the Skip and Samari partnership was like night and day. I don't know whether that was just a fluke we will see in a couple of weeks' time, or whether they are gelling and this is what Samari wanted or something or Skip wanted. But they worked really well, and I'm glad Wiggs didn't start. He didn't actually play, I don't think. Yeah, I was very impressed. It's looked like Skip of old in a way, not up to his standard where he was at Norwich, but he looked a different player. He was buzzing around all over the place. He's still, I wouldn't say he's worth 20 odd million at the moment, but I see potential there, I think. And Sumare, if he puts him, I was amazed. I mean, that's probably the best game I've actually seen Sumare play. The setup was pretty good. I didn't agree with bringing Mavididi back for Monga. I think Monga should be playing all the time, but I know what Marty's doing. He just wants to bring him in slowly, but I probably think he's ready. I mean, when he came on again, it was like, oh, here we go again. This is bums off seats stuff, you know? So overall, 2-0 against the Midland rivals, who are cocky bastards to say the least, now they come up. But we put them in their place. And I went on their podcast and they were disappointed. They said they didn't play very well and this, that, and the other. And but that was their first loss in 4, I think. So all good.
Didn't really offer a lot, did they? They had, you know, we were happy for them to have possession, but they didn't really. I don't think Emerson really had to make a save other than that. After that free kick from Gray and he rebound. The picture you just put up before, Craig, I failed to mention Vestergaard. I thought he had a very good game as well.
Yeah. So I brought this up because we're always very critical of our midfielders, Skip and Samari, and I really thought they were kind of the keys of the game along with Vestergaard. I think, again, Vestergaard, he's great at what he does. The only thing, he's just slow. We all know it. He's slow. So if he can stay out of that position, he's great. But I wanted to highlight these guys because I really thought, you know, Vestergaard had the one pass to Doc over up the pitch to Doc, and if Doc just could have, I don't know, could have done something other than just bounce it off his chest and then lose it, that could have been another goal. But I mean, it was a perfect way to pass that Vestergaard is doing, and he's the only one out of him and Akole and Foss and even Stolarczyk who are doing that consistently so far this season, which is, I think, another reason why he's in there. So
yeah, he's got a pass on him for sure. He's putting the ball short or long.
Yeah. So,
but we're supposed to be playing out from the back, though. You know, that's counter to what it is. But I don't like this playing out from the back. I mean, this is all Pep Guardiola stuff and this super thing, but it's dangerous as hell, especially when you've got the players we have. Why would you play out for the back, like, you know, across the penalty area, and even the goalkeeper giving it to, like, I don't know, Winks or whoever, not this game, but, you know, other games, midfielders who have come back, and it's like there's a man on them straight away, and if you lose that, they're in on goal. I'm not a fan of that. So I wish Vestergaard would just keep pumping these long balls up there. I mean, it puts pressure on more quickly, and that you panic. You got like a ball coming at you like a rocket. It's open to error, especially at this standard. I'm not knocking the EFL, but the standard's not obviously good as the Premier League, and these people panic, so I'm all for it. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not a fan of Vestergaard.
Yeah, well, no one's really been a fan of Vestergaard simply because he gets beat a lot. He puts himself in positions to get beat, and that's what it is. But the thing is, in the championship, he's very good as long as he stays in those positions not to get beat, which is why I think he needs a very good. This is why I always thought Wilfred Ndidi was important to those guys, right? Because he helped protect them. He helped not put them in the position to get vulnerable. So anyway, here's our scorers right here, Fatawu and Ricardo. I mean, I think we saw, Fatawu doing what he does, right? But everyone's talking about what a great goal that Ricardo had. I think everybody needs to back up and see Manga is the one who created that situation, in my opinion, to get Ricardo that. And I think that's another reason, Charles, what you're saying is why we need Manga on there more. I mean, Mark, what did you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like every time he's either come on, he scored at Preston, right? He's had, I'm not sure if that's his second assist. I want to say that he's already had an assist, right?
At least
that's his second assist. So, but just straight away, I mean, that's what frustrates me with Mabadidi. It's repeat, right? Again, from what we've seen so far, he's like no end products, step overs, and then he'll just turn back. Now, granted, I feel he didn't get a lot of support from Thomas in terms of he wasn't getting a lot of the ball, but as soon as Manga gets on, you saw he was a constant threat, turn the full back inside out. He can put it in with his left foot, he can put it in with his right. And fair play to Ricky P. I mean, look how far forward he was to get on the end of that. That's your fullback.
Yeah.
You don't really see that Thomas on the left-hand side, but I'm like, what's he doing up there? In fact, good goal.
Hopefully that'll continue.
Where was Daka? It's like doing Daka's job, basically. It's like
forward, Ricky P.
Yeah, it's like
all over the place. Yeah, so I completely agree.
I feel sorry for Daka because when he first came, he had that trademark where he'd flip. Remember that? They'd flip, and he did it in Russia where he scored 4 goals. Now, just because he doesn't score, I think when he scores, he doesn't do it anymore because it's not.
I don't know what to do. I'm so shocked.
No, I know. Yeah, he probably can't do it anymore.
When's the last time he scored? That's
what I mean.
Going in pre-season, didn't he? He got that.
Yeah. He didn't do it then. He didn't do it because I know it's. I thought I probably hurt himself now.
I'm just kidding. I'm getting all these notifications of all the stuff that's been going on today. Of course, because they're coming through on my watch. So anyway, hey, I don't want to spend too much time on the match. I thought it was great. I thought we played well. I thought our midfield was really good. I was really happy to see that Skip and Samari had good matches. But I do want to give a little shout out to probably a picture. I found this picture and I was like, I think this is kind of describes Birmingham to a T. And it's that one right there, So, and I just wanted to show I do have a Demarai Gray kit. I mean, this was the second one I ever bought. I bought a Wes Morgan first, then I bought this one because I was like, oh, this guy's going to be great. He's going to stick around for years. Yeah, I think he lasted like 1 more or 2 more seasons after I got it, and he was done. But I thought I found this today, and I thought, man, this is a great picture because it was just kind of indicative of their match. I mean, he was very frustrated. He didn't seem like I don't know if we frustrated him or if we were just able to dictate the play that he just wasn't very involved. And it didn't seem like he really got going in the match.
We saw the mirror player of what he was for 90% of the time when he was with us. That's truly what we were seeing there. He's just a 1 in 15 game player.
Yeah, exactly.
And when I saw the team sheet and he was on it, I thought this team is not good because I always liked Demarai Gray, but he was so frustrating. He was like trying to be a Ronaldo with oversteps, and he kept losing the ball, and then he'd have a good game, and then he'd have 3 bad games. So when you look at it, I know he'd been Saudi for a couple of years or 1 year. I thought this is going to be the same player, and if he's in their team and he couldn't really get into ours, it sort of sums it up of where they are ahead compared to where they think they are, because and they were bad. I mean, as I say, I went on the pods, the Birmingham pods, and they said, "Oh, we just had a bad game," but they were sort of insinuating that that's the way they play, and that's shit. They're not as good. They're thinking that they thought they'd come up and walk it, and they may still finish in the playoffs or something, but they need to improve. But we beat them quite easily. I think that coach said it wasn't a 2-0 game. I think it was. I think we probably could have won by more because they had no threat of them. There you go.
Could have been. Hey, real quickly, because I think just this is the standings as after 4 matches, and I know it's early, but there's a couple of things that stood out to me. I think I'd like for you guys to kind of take a quick look at this real quick and kind of see if there's anything that stands out to you. My biggest one is that Sheffield United still hasn't gotten any points yet. I mean, that's just huge in my opinion.
That's crazy.
Considering being relegated, being a Premier League club last year, and I don't know how many signings they've gotten, but they've had a few.
They got Premier League last time. They were down here. They got in the playoffs, right?
Were they? Were they?
Yeah.
Is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah,
so
it's their second year. Yeah, Ipswich and Southampton get now with us.
Oh, Southampton. Yeah.
They lost in the playoff final.
It doesn't even register with me. That's how much I care, or how little I care. Sorry, that's what I mean. That's how little I care. So.
And Ipswich and Southampton are both sucking as well. They're just all over.
Well, that's kind of what I wanted to say. Hey, welcome to the show, Manny.
Hey guys, sorry for my tardiness.
No, you're good. I mean, anytime we can have you on the show, it's a pleasure. So trust me.
I appreciate that.
It's an upgrade, Manny.
Speak for yourself, Charles. Speak for yourself.
So, hey, real quickly, Manny, I need to know, who did you take in your first pick?
Obviously, I wanted.
What position were you in, and who did you pick first?
I was second in my draft, and obviously it was going to be Chase first pick. Jamal Chase was going to be first pick, but he got taken. Yeah. So who would you have gone if Jamal Chase was off the board? Wide receiver, heavy league.
Oh, wide receiver, Justin Jefferson probably, or
I would have.
Is there somebody else I'm missing?
First choice, I picked a running back. So which would have been your first choice running back?
Oh, dude, I haven't, ever since I started watching proper football, I don't follow American football very much. And I have a draft tomorrow night, and I pick first.
Definitely pick Jamal Chase first.
Yeah. We're half point PPR. So
between Robinson and Barkley, that was the clue.
Oh, I would have taken Barkley. I don't trust.
I took Robinson.
I do not trust that guy. Everybody's been hyping him up since he came in the league, and I just don't think he's done shit, in my opinion. But I'd take Derrick Henry before I'd take him, and Derrick Henry's never going to catch any passes. So I mean,
that was somebody else.
Anyway,
first choice. But anyway, it was my.
I'll say one thing to Manny. I don't follow the NFL at all, but I tell you, the Dallas just lost that linebacker or whoever he was, 150 million guaranteed salary. 150.
Let's talk about Michael Parsons.
$180 million contract, $150 million. I don't know how the NFL I do commercials, but $150 million guaranteed. Damn.
Nice work if you can get it.
Yeah. So on top of that, Charles, he got $120 million of that the day he signed.
Gee.
So he got 120, 150 guaranteed, but he got 120 the day he signed. So anyway, hey, man, we just went through the Birmingham match real quickly because we haven't covered that since it played. And we were just talking about the standings here for the championship. And we were, just saying, hey, what's unusual going on here? Obviously, Sheffield United with no points. Is there anything else that stands out to you so far after 4 matches in our league?
Particularly Ipswich are the standout story at the beginning, for sure. They not only did they spend so heavily in the Premier League last time, but they've actually had some big sales as well, some really big sales. And they've actually spent some money this time too, including Casey McAteer from us, no less. But that start is, if you rewind to the beginning of the season, remember the narrative was that Ipswich and Southampton are going to be the top 2 because Leicester have a 9-point deficit, roughly 9 points, and that will put them back into the pack. Well, if we have a 9-point deficit on Ipswich, we've already got 6 of it in the first 4 games. Mm-hmm. So we're 3 points behind them with 42 left. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's assuming the league normalises and Ipswich pick up their results. We've already got a big edge on one of our major rivals.
Yeah.
I
So
think
what I will say about Ipswich is I think we're seeing what Potter did at West Ham, right? It's not necessarily the managers, because Kieran Maguire, whatever his name is, at Ipswich, McKenna lost Lee Grant to Huddersfield in May, who is his number 2. So I think we're seeing this maybe because you look at it compared with last year. I'm not saying that he was responsible, but we're seeing that, Potter goes to West Ham and is really struggling because at Brighton he had a lot of backup people. Perhaps they should get more credit than the actual head coach is getting. But, the coach at Ipswich is struggling, and it's not just him unless he's picking the players, because some of the players they're picking, new players, are like Casey for 12 million. Thank you very much. That's my view. But yeah, Southampton and Ipswich aren't there, and Sheffield United are not there. But
Well, today was a banner day in my opinion. Actually, it was probably one of the first times in a few years that I've actually been excited about transfer day. So I don't know about you guys, but I've actually been, Manny, I have been sitting here pretty much since you started today.
We did. I did. Was it 4 solid hours streaming?
Yeah.
Manny's not left his chair all day.
Honestly,
Wow.
I can't tell you the state of my ass cheeks. Around 7 p.m. local time at the time. I've actually got one of these. It's called a purple. It's called a purple something, and I actually had to get it from the States. And,
yeah.
And it was like,
well, that's why it cost you.
like
that's why it cost you so
like
much.
$150 or something.
Oh man,
Damn.
I think I paid 35. I think I paid 35 for mine off Amazon,
Yeah,
and it has been the best thing I've ever done. So,
man, it really helps. Yeah, it really helps.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
But
I took about an hour break. So,
I mean, have we ever signed 3 players in one day in our history ever?
It was crazy.
And 2 of those last 10 minutes.
Next year, Manny, you need to flip it, because you did like all those hard yards for 3-4 hours with the locks. The other boys last hour and get all the excitement.
I know, but
took all the credit
over the line.
Yeah, we were waiting. We were getting very nervous. We said with an hour to go. There's 1 hour to go, and we've been hearing for a while. And Locks is getting continuous texts from various people saying, it's happening. But when the clock actually starts ticking with an hour to go, it's amazing that you just start freaking out, thinking something's gone wrong. He's failed his medical. They didn't submit the paperwork on time. Yeah. There's been a last minute hitch or an issue. Another club has come in, or whatever it might be. That it's just, you're expecting. Our mindset was kind of, this is potentially not going to happen. So to find out at the end that we did, particularly with the middle side, the first one we kind of knew yesterday. Mm-hmm. But it was the Jordan James signing, which I know that you guys already touched upon. That was one that we definitely, I think, from some of our fans, we wanted to get that one over the line.
That was a big one for me.
Yeah, I think these are the 3 ones that really that we brought in, all on loan transfers. But I think Ramsey's the only one that's is just a straight transfer. He'll be going back to Burnley when the season's over. But the other 2 have, I believe, have options to buy. But I mean, you talk about how many we sign on the last day. I mean, granted, these are all loans. I totally get it and everything. So we didn't really sign anyone permanently, but I mean, I think that's where we're going down this road. I mean, how do you see us? I'll start with you, Manny. How do you see these 3 guys actually helping us for the rest of the season? And I have a follow-up question to that.
Well, they're first team players for a start. They're not coming here to fill the squad. They're not coming here to sit on the bench. I mean, Julian, we'll take them one by one, but Julian Carranza was sitting on the bench at Feyenoord, a club I know very, very well. Been to Rotterdam 20 times. You're not going to leave cushy Rotterdam to sit on the bench at Leicester. You're coming here to play. It will have been part of his negotiation. I'm actually going to get in this team. How do you see me? And remember, he's a Spanish speaker like Marty himself, so they would have communicated in depth between them. You're not using a third party or a middleman to convey your message. It's going to be pretty clear between them. Also, Julian Carranza fits the profile, whether he was at Philadelphia before or at Feyenoord. The requirement, both of those clubs play a high transition, high press ball. So you have to be a pressing forward, much like Jamie Vardy was. You've got to hunt down that fullback, chase the centre-back, come into midfield and harry them. He fits that requirement too. So considering, and it's always relative, right? So if we had some super striker, then Carranza would find himself on the bench. But in our current scenario, we barely have a striker. So you would hope maybe after a few weeks of bedding in and getting fit that he'll walk right in the team. So that's first choice striker, tick.
Yeah.
Jordan James, you guys have covered it well. There's not really much to add from what you guys said. First choice player. Remember, we lost Wilfred and Ndidi in that area. And there are questions. Winks is a good distributor, but he's not really someone who's going to press, close down, win the ball, harry, be physical. Skip is a toss the coin. One good game toss the coin, and he loses one of 5 of those. So he loses 4 or 5 of those. You can't rely on the guy for 46 games. We haven't seen enough to suggest that we can. Booba, all happy, smiley Booba on Friday, which is strange.
Yeah,
but that's probably because he was looking for a late move. Sorry to be cynic.
Manny.
But genuinely, with Booba, I've been one of Booba's biggest sort of defenders because I can see the footballer there. But but psychologically, when we spend so many hours talking about this stuff and we go through it, when you're in the last year of your contract, when you sign your contract and you've got a 5-year contract like he had, you know that you are going to be getting paid 4 or 5 consecutive years, no matter how good you are, no matter how bad you are. But when you're in the final year of that contract, at the end of this year, it's a big fork in the road. If he has a bad season at Leicester, he'll end up somewhere relatively obscure with a relatively low wage for the next 4 years. If he has a great season at Leicester, then he could move on to pastures new, still relatively young. He could find himself a super contract. So psychologically, I expect Booba to be really on it this season. But that's a gamble on some, first grade psychology. So I'm not really sure how much you can rely on that. We definitely need someone in that position who's hungry, who's young, who's quite physical. I think we need a bit of physicality. It's a rough league. We've seen that in the Charlton and Preston games in particular. They're trying to rough us up. And Jordan James, even though he's 21, he likes to put his frame about. He's not one to shirk a challenge. He quite enjoys the contact, if you know what I mean. And as for Aaron Ramsey, can't tell you any bean about him, so I can't ever remember seeing him play. So no. I'm not going to say a word about that until I've actually seen him.
Yeah. Hey Charles, what did you think of these signings, and how does that bode for our ability to actually get promoted back to the Premier League?
Well, I knew there'd always be loans. We knew that because we don't have any money still in because of the PSR. But this, I'm very impressed, and I don't know whether it's who's making these, whether it is our friend or is it Martin Glover being promoted and making them. Give him some credit. But no, we needed a striker, so I don't know much about Carranza. He looks good on the tapes that I see, and that's what we know. And I think the other two, I'm not too sure they're going to start in a couple of weeks, but I think probably Carranza is going to start against Oxford because we've got 2 weeks with Marty on the training field to get the system going. And he will probably start. We need a target man. This guy is a target man. So I'm optimistic about him. But the loan thing versus the buying thing, we should have been probably loaning people instead of buying before many years ago. I know we were doing well. But I know you've got the gamble that if they're loans, they're not your players. And if they do well, somebody else is going to come in and pinch them properly. But I don't know, looking back on how much money we squandered on these players, couldn't we have just loaned them for a significant amount? I'm not talking like $1 million, but offer somebody like $5 million loan fee with a thing to buy. That would have been the better instead of splashing money on players that we should not have obtained. Hey,
Charles, Luke wants to know, do you think you could beat Rudkin in a fight? So I'm not too sure about that.
Depends what sort of fight. Depends what sort of fight.
Charles, just to pick up on that point, do you remember? Yeah. There's multiple ways you can look at it, and you can look at it in the short term and think we could have spent more money, which we could have done. But the money that we can spend today has a limited range in quality that you can attract in our current situation. We're about to get a 9-point deficit. There's question marks whether we're going to come back. There's lots of players leaving. Now, internally, we know enough that we've still got some brilliant talent still there that you would love to play with. Abdul Fatawu, Jeremy Monga, Mavididi on his day. We've got some really good other kids coming through. There's plenty of ability still in the squad. But if you keep your powder dry today, not only do you have some firepower in January in case you need it, but when we go up, we won't just have the standard 120 million pounds that you get for your budget. You'll have additional budget that you saved in your championship, so you can actually spend that extra 20-30% for a Premier League push. Remember, that's why last time we were in the Premier League, we spent a net 60, but Ipswich had nothing on their books that was of any significant risk, so they could spend 140. Southampton spent, I think, 120. Southampton spent twice what we did. So you could argue, if we had another 60 million pounds to spend in that situation at that time, we could have found enough to potentially keep us up. Well, no, if you're going to buy Oliver Skip for 25 million, that's not going to work. But in theory, so if you fast forward, and it's a gamble, of course, you're gambling, you've got enough to go up. But if you go up, it then gives you a higher percentage chance of staying up.
If they really go for it, and I agree totally. And look at Sunderland, what they're doing. They must have had a similar model. I mean, they are just going for it, right? I think they made another signing today. I mean, they're giving themselves every opportunity. I think out of the three, you'd look at. I thought it'd be reversed. I thought Leeds would really go for it, but Sunderland have surprised me in the business that they've been doing, and smart business. It's not. They're all. I don't know if you noticed, but they're all 20, 21, 22 years old. So. Again, if the worst happens, many times what you've been saying, Manny, in terms of transfer business, looking at the bigger picture, looking 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line, if worst case happens, they come down, they've got sellable assets, right? They're not stuck with 28, 29, 30-year-old players on the books for, 60, 70, 80 grand a week. So they're not backed into a corner, right? Like we've done. And hopefully we learn, our lesson. We simply have to moving forward in the model that we go forward with. And at least again, they're loan signings, but look at the ages that we've brought in. I mean, Jordan James, he was the big one for me. Similar to what Manny was saying. I mean, I was watching. I saw quite a lot of him when he was at Birmingham, and I loved him. He's about 6 foot. He's got a real engine on him. He'll run all day, box to box. But he likes to put a tackle in, and that's what we've been missing, a bit of nastiness, a bit of bite in that midfield. So I'm really excited. When he's bedded in, he's going to bring so much to him. He's the one I really wanted to get over the line. And when it came to 7 o'clock, I was like, hello, are we getting this done? So,
I mean, with that Sunderland thing, you bang on it. Just always try to be empathetic. Put yourself, say you guys are now American investors and you've identified you can't afford to buy one of the big Premier League clubs. You're already at top price. What you'd rather do is take a gamble on a championship team and try to lift them up. So what you're looking for is things like single club cities, catchment areas, potential revenue, worldwide fan base. But any of that stuff aside, when it comes to the playing side of things, you've got two options really to go for. Do you try to build an experienced team? And if you remember, when King Power took over Leicester City, our first team under Sven-Göran Eriksson was people like Beckford and these other guys that had a bit of a reputation that were on big money. That's a common way to approach the situation. Some experience, some know-how, some guys who can hopefully get you up. And I thought last year's playoff final was a really monster match in so many ways, because you've got Sheffield United on one side with Chris Wilder, a very robust, strong, experienced, rigid approach, versus Sunderland, who, after having spent 15 years of trying that way and it not working, it dawned on them that we need to invest in kids who can develop into a team together. And for the first 2-3 years, these kids will get nowhere. But eventually, once they get their games under their belt, they'll be experienced, but they'll be 25 and experienced. And they'll be able to move faster than the guys who are 29 and experienced or 30 and experienced. So that playoff final is no coincidence that Sheffield United went 1-0 up. But as the game went on, after having run their hearts into the ground, Sheffield United, for 46 games and a playoff final, the last half an hour of that match, Sunderland were all over them. Scored twice because those young legs on that big Wembley pitch had that energy, enthusiasm, drive to get it over the line. And look how they started in the Premier League. This is what we talk about. In the Championship, they finished playoffs, but those players, for that year of development, have improved. They've added more quality of assimilation. And like Mark said, if these players don't work out, you'll always find somebody who's willing to take a gamble on them, because they've still got potential most of their careers ahead of them. Whereas the well-known players, everybody knows. and it's just not a risk you're going to take these days. And the final thing, before it turns into a standard Manny rant, is again that the game has changed dramatically in the last, forget 10 years, 3 years. Look at the stars who are making headlines in the game today. For us, it's Jeremy Monga. For Liverpool, it's Rio Umgamoa. For Arsenal, it's Max Dowman. We're talking 15, 16-year-olds. For Barcelona, it's Lamine Yamal. For PSG, it's Doué, who's 19, or Barcola, or Kvashvili, who's only like 21 and 22 himself. So what I'm saying is, the prevalent thinking used to be that your prime as a footballer are between the ages of, say, 26 to 30. I think the game has shifted. And because you need that lower centre of gravity, less muscle mass, to be able to turn and pivot and accelerate in small, tight pressing spaces, that being young gives you an advantage. And not just because of those physical attributes that you have, but also because you get offered more protection by the rules and VAR than you ever did before. So there's no off the ball, Mark will tell you, filthy elbows or late challenges or standing on your foot or grabbing your, it's all the old tricks that they used to do. They're out the game too. So these younger players, where they would have been physically knocked out the game, today their youth and their size and their lack of weight is a massive advantage.
So, hey, so with these new signings, something that, and now that we're on an international break, it got me thinking about, in the last few years, there's always been international breaks, and it seems either they come at a bad time when we're playing really well and all of a sudden we have to take a break and we don't get to play and then we come back, or we don't take advantage of them, like when we should have gotten rid of Rodgers or we should have gotten rid of Cooper or whatever it is. So Luke brought this question up, which is a good question, is, hey, after this international break, do we integrate these into the style, and do all three start in the next match? And so I'm kind of curious to that, because I'm wondering, I don't think they're all going to three-start in the next match. I think what's going to end up happening is they're going to end up working their way in there. But I'm wondering, is this going to be our lineup that we're going to see once they get integrated in? Is this what we're going to see, or is it still going to be somebody else in that number 10 role right there where Ramsey is where we see someone else there?
I think you're not far off the best 11 that we can put out. I'd make 2 changes, but considering the new players, that's right.
What are your 2 changes real quick?
Just Mark will tell you my 2 changes.
Wait, where? You'd probably take Samari out, would you?
No, I'm
defense.
I'm a Samare fan.
Yeah,
defense.
Yes, Thomas.
Sorry,
Thomas.
Charles, help him out. There you go. Thomas.
Luke Thomas. Yeah. And probably Vestergaard, maybe.
Wait, Thomas and BK.
I take out Ricardo and put Hamza in, but probably Manny, maybe Vestergaard.
You wouldn't have fully fit Ricardo in?
Something dawned on me on Friday night. I'm going to try not to go into another rant about something, but it depends. Remember, when you analyse a team, you can analyse a team and its attributes and its pros and cons. But when you're analysing a matchup, it's how your pros and cons fare against their pros and cons. So every week it's different. When we're facing a team like Charlton and they just want to kick it long and be rough and physical, it's not something that we're used to. But Birmingham on Friday came Brendan style. He's Brendan's assistant. They wanted to play football against us and have the ball and have possession. Well, what's Marty trying to create? A transition team. Press the ball, catch you out of trouble. When you're not paying attention, get your defence moving backwards. We'll attack the space with our speedy, quick players, and hey presto, we'll cause you damage that way. I think they walked into a trap. They did. And I'm not sure how many traps people will walk to, because in order to walk into a trap, you have to have the ambition of promotion yourself and fancy yourself. I'm going to go to Leicester. The manager said it, Chris Davies. We thought about it, and we're not going to come here and play counter-attack football. We're going to be Birmingham, because that's when we're at our best. That was the second I knew that they were going to lose that game, because that's just not going to work tactically. So tactically, Vestergaard, to bring it to an actual point, when you've got he was sitting deep this week, right? You didn't see many balls pinged in behind him, over him. He didn't have that 30 metres between him and the goalkeeper. They was pretty much in shape at the edge of our box for most of the match, really. So they didn't really try and exploit him. So he looked brilliant, which he did. He was really good on Friday. But when you're away from home and the situation's a bit different, and the opposition, and say Oxford, the very next game, I think, they won't have any ambition against us. They're going to sit deep, which means Vestergaard's going to have to push forward. And when he pushes forward, that can be a liability again on the transition. So I would, to come to a point, again, final point, is it depends on the opposition you're playing as to whether I would play Vestergaard or not.
Yeah. But credit to Marty as well for taking care of Birmingham. You think? I think he's brilliant so far. I haven't seen anything I don't like about him.
I don't know about you guys,
he came out left field. He came out left field because we were all going for, like, I don't know, Deitch and everything. It was like,
you should listen to Blue Tinted Glasses more, Charles. We were trying to get out of the merry-go-round names. We were shooting them down as hard as we could. And when it came to Marty, actually, we were all thumbs up. We were like, this one makes sense.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. No, but I want to say Marty came in from left field because nobody ever heard of it. Well,
No. I remember I sent a text to a few friends about him. 3 months into his QPR job, we played them. I think they beat us, didn't they? And this was Gareth Ainsworth's team that were like bottom of the league, really struggling. And Gareth Ainsworth, I know, but he was Wimbledon manager, Wickham manager. He definitely plays like old school, kick it long, crazy gang Wimbledon. So I thought, if Marty Cifuentes has got them playing on the deck football, and they've been used to playing crazy gang with no changes in personnel and 2 or 3 months to work with, this guy's having an impact on his squad. He's developing and improving the players that he has in front of him. That is a characteristic of a good manager.
Mm-hmm. So with that real quickly, where do we think we're going to end up? I mean, it's kind of early prediction. We've had 4 matches. We've got 9 points, and we don't know if there's going to be a points deduction. But now that with these additions, I know January is still a window. Where do we think we're going to end up in the table come May?
So hard, isn't it? It's so hard to you can speculate. I mean, we should be there, and that's the thing. That it's the points thing, isn't it? And I just wish that had been dealt with before a ball was kicked. But that's obviously not going to happen. It's just, I think it's nice to know and claw back, have that siege mentality to claw back those points and then go, rather than be sitting, like in January, sitting second or third, you get hit and then you're down to 12th or 13th. And then you've got to okay, we've got to go again now. Yeah. But that's where Marty will earn his money, right? To get the boys up and going again. So, I mean, I fully expect it still, regardless, take that even out of the equation for us to be up there. If we don't finish in the top 4, I'd be surprised.
So I'm gonna say it like I've always said it. If we get a points deduction of 9 or less, we'll be pushing for playoffs and probably in the playoffs. If it's more than 9, we'll be mid-table, simply because it's just going to be too much to overcome. That's my opinion. And part of that has to do with the fact that we need to make sure we beat the teams that we beat, which Preston North End, that's a team we should have beat, and we didn't. So we lost. That was an opportunity to get 3 points back off that deduction that we didn't get. And I know there's going to be matches like that, but in this, when you're facing a deduction of whatever the magnitude is, you can't afford to get points against teams where you should be getting points, no matter what.
But that was Marty's second game or something. He needs time. Well, in the EFL, he needs time. And I think, honestly, the further we go into this, we're going to get a lot stronger, especially with these people today. I think we are going, and I've got me gone for playoffs, if not second. I really do. I think if they give us 9 points deduction, we've got 9 points already. We're 4 games in. We're done. We start again. If it's more, the way we're grinding, not Oxford are next. We should wipe the floor with Oxford. Now, it's not going to be all easy all the way through, but I'm confident. Now, I'm confident that we are going to go at least the playoffs. At least the playoffs. I mean, yeah, I personally.
Me and Manny won a Wembley playoff final.
No, my heart can't take it.
I think everybody's misreading the situation quite a lot. I think we'll finish first. I think it's whether we actually end up going up first or second will depend on how close our rivals are to us. I think there's no doubt in my mind that we will finish number 1 by some kind of gap. And everybody, all my end, always chuckling and laughing, thinking I'm a madman. But as usual, there's a lot of thinking and logic that goes behind that, and I'll make the case for it. The favourites of this division, according to most, analysis, was Ipswich and Southampton. Two clubs we beat 2 years ago. We forget that we actually beat them last year as well. I think we finished 3 points ahead of Ipswich and about 11 ahead of Southampton, something like that. 11 points. And when we played that same Southampton squad, we were ahead of them by another 10 or 11 points. So they've always had that 10 odd point gap between the teams anyway. So roughly speaking, taking 9 points is very manageable, particularly since the start that those two teams have had, right? They've already dropped points they shouldn't have dropped points. So that 9 point deficit is now already down to like really a 4 or 5 point deficit. And I remember when Enzo took over and Owen Palmer-Atkinson asked him a question post about roughly the third or fourth game. How far do you think the players are into understanding what you're trying to achieve here? And he said about 20%. So on that basis, it's the same thing at the start of Enzo. We didn't play well early, but we got results. Same thing here. We didn't play well, but we got results. And I think people are overestimating the quality of the opposition. Everything's always relative. You tell me which team is good. Like Birmingham are much hyped. Well, we put them away relatively comfortably. Ipswich were much hyped, struggling. Southampton were much hyped up, struggling. Coventry were much hyped up. They're 4 points off the top at the moment. Having lost a bad result. Now Middlesbrough have started exceptionally, and West Brom are an interesting one. But these teams shouldn't have the squad depth. They'll drop off. They will drop off over 46 games. So who will emerge? I mean, who else has got the quality of Abdul Fatawu and Jeremy Monga? Nobody's got the level below these guys. Never mind their level. This is like Champions League quality players. They don't have that in the Championship. You can see the rest of the teams can be 50-50 and much, but these two can do a piece of magic that can create something out of the blue. And they're not in isolation. Did you see that Man United and was it Arsenal were linked with Louis Page today? Did you come across that one?
No. You had that on your stream. I was like, I didn't see any, but I was like, wait.
Those two have been sniffing around Louis Page already. They can see that if you can do this at 17, when you're 19, 20, 21, you're going to be some player. So I think we've got some real quality kids, and we've still got good pros in this league like Ricardo. I know he gets a lot of stick, but Wout Fass is rock solid in this league. Vestergaard, even though I'm not his biggest fan, is solid in this league. We've seen that before. Now we've just signed Jordan James, who's an exceptional midfielder for this league. I think, and Mark will tell you, he's one of the better ones for sure. Yeah. So, striker was a big issue. But this boy is a 1 and 2 in the MLS. I think he's 5 in 9 starts for Feyenoord. The rest were sub-appearances. He's Argentinian, so he always works hard. We know that. And I've watched Middlesbrough. I've watched Sheffield United. It was awful, I can assure you. It was terrible. It was the striking was so bad, the finishing. I just don't see where we have a sustained challenger. So even with 9 points, remember last time, I think third was 7 points behind us. But at one point, we had a 17-point lead. So these things, I'm not talking about a pie in the sky. We've already shown last time that we can have a 17-point lead with months to go. So you can get ahead of the pack. And I think if you guys are tennis fans, there's a tennis player in the old days, American, Brad Gilbert. And he wrote a book called Winning Ugly. I think that's what we're doing today. But the thing that sold it for me was Friday night, you saw every single player buying into what Marty's trying to do. Once you've bought into the project, then it just comes, you're not going to outwork us anymore. So then it comes down to quality. And we have the highest quality squad still. And now we've added 3 extra players to it. What I knew we were going to get promoted when those 6 players under Enzo were going to leave. But then they did a week's training with Enzo and they all came back and changed their minds. Now, if you've decided you don't want to play in this league, but you've spent a week with a new coach and you're so enthralled by the prospect of working with him, your head is switched on every day at training. You're not coming in moping. You're coming in to learn, to study. It's like if you guys went to university, it's like going to university when you're paying attention versus having a hangover. You're there, but you're not really there. It's a big difference. So I think I knew as soon as the players bought into Enzo, we were going to go up. And I think we've just seen on Friday night exactly the same.
Yeah. I agree. So is Jordan James a direct replacement for Ndidi? Because I'm not too sure about Jordan. I've seen him, but I don't know. Is it exact? Because he sounds the same. I just wondered whether
he
doesn't defend as well, but he attacks much better.
Yeah.
Really?
Much
Okay.
better.
Box to box, and that's the thing. He's got such an engine on him. He can get up and down all day long,
and he can ping a long ball too. So when we get the ball in those, when we're sort of defending on the edge of our box, we want to remember. Do you remember Callum Doyle pinging diagonal balls to Fatawu, and do you remember Wout Fast pinging diagonal balls to Mavididi under Enzo?
Yeah.
When you're trying to get out quickly, you need somebody who can pick up the ball, but find our fast players who are advanced, and before the defense has a chance to reset, then we've got to be able to attack them quickly. So someone who can accurately. We used to have Tielemans that did it. We used to have Danny Drinkwater before who did it, but we don't really have a midfielder who's got a really lovely long ball on them. So it's another bow to his.
But it's progressive as well, and that's what we've been crying out for. No one to progress the ball forward quickly. He's great at running as well. So he can ping a pass, but he'll run with it as well. So I'm super excited about him.
Hey, so
we're all part of it as well. The fans have bought into this. Like, you guys are excited, we're excited, and we've been in doom and gloom for quite a while, haven't we?
Yeah.
So
a long time.
Just that lift, even coming into Friday, I think it was such a big lift because all the predictions were, we'll take a point. It's like, take a point at home against anybody in this league. Never.
Yeah.
We'll put every team. We should be aiming to put every team at home away, bar none. And I think now that we've started to believe in the project now, and if there were any people that were doubting Marty, particularly after the Preston game and the iffy performance against Charlton, I think this is snowball effect now. This is just going to... These new players are going to come in. The confidence... We all know, whatever sport it is, there's nothing like building team spirit and confidence, but it's no better than winning.
So to your point, Manny, because I went and looked this up yesterday about Marty, he actually signed on July 15th. So he's basically had 7 weeks with the team. 5 matches. That's 5 days. 3 of those matches were championship matches, right? Not count. I'm sorry, before Friday. So, and so my take on is he hasn't had the time to establish himself yet because there's been so much talk about we're not playing well and we're not doing this and people aren't responding, and I'm like, it's been 7 weeks, and the guy, a new manager who hasn't brought in his own people and trying to get the people already there to play his style needs months versus weeks.
Yeah, try 3 months minimum.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking. What we should be talking about is what we're going to look like when we come November, because that's really when
they need
we should
3
be hitting
windows.
stride.
I mean, if you really want to go into it, they need 3 windows to really revamp all the personnel, get out the guys who they don't really want, who don't buy into it, guys who aren't naturally suited. But
nobody gets that kind of time. Nobody gets that time anymore.
He's been in the door 5 minutes, right? And you need instant results. He's getting them. 3
and people are, but that's just it. People are still complaining because they're talking about they don't like the way it wins. It's an ugly win, and I'm sitting here going, 3 points is 3 points.
Yeah,
it doesn't
that's
really
what
matter.
Me up. You got him like, you kidding me? Come on. Like,
that's one of the reasons we started the channel. I mean, I thought Enzo was very aesthetically pleasing. I loved that kind of control football. The tactical battle is absolute genius. I think Enzo's a mastermind taught by a mastermind from a line of masterminds, and I love all that kind of stuff. But we were 17 points clear in the championship, something Mark and I will tell you, and Charles will tell you, we've never been anywhere near 17 points clear of anyone, ever, in any situation. 17 points clear of relegation, but that's about it.
Yeah.
We never. And you still had fans that are moaning and groaning, complaining. Yeah. It's just people like to.
We did lose him. We lost at Plymouth and all these weird places, and the wheels. We thought the wheels were coming off the bus. I wasn't the one that moaned, but anyway. But I know people did because we did. We won by like 1 point from Ipswich and like 4 points, whatever. But what I would say is the international break has come at a great time for us, because with Marty, I think he's got time to integrate these kids and really go at it. So I think the performances are going to improve, especially in Oxford and things like that, hopefully. So
I'm delighted Ghana didn't take Fatawu, by the way. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Yeah, great news. We're not losing many people for the African nations, are we? I mean, I'm trying to think who we're losing. Jordan Ayew, maybe. Really?
Yeah, I think Jordan Ayew's going, but
Jordan Ayew.
I think they're playing on it. I don't even know they use these, but artificial pitch. Would you believe? So I think
is that why they weren't selected?
Ghana,
which is fair. I mean, fair play to them, because in the past, a lot of these countries
Correct.
don't give a hoot, do they? They were like,
absolutely,
"You're
but
playing me."
because the last time he was on Ghanaian duty, he did his ACL. I think they probably felt a bit
Oh, so
guilty
they
and
got
thought, we can't risk that one
Can't
again.
go through
But
that again.
I read a Ghanaian news article which said because of the risk to Abdul's knees in particular, or whatever it is, that they didn't feel that the pitch was appropriate, so they're going to leave him at Leicester to continue his rehabilitation, which is a big tick
really,
for us.
Yeah,
rightly so.
Yeah.
So we've been talking about the guys we've added. We really need to talk about at least one outgoing, and that's this guy right here. So Charles, how did you feel about Bilal being?
Right.
He's out.
Well,
he's out on loan technically, but I think he's never going to come back.
No, he's never going to come back. There's a few things that I would say. I was trying to stay positive. I know he blacked out his screen and then put it back, which says I'm on strike. And I was thought, it can't be. But he obviously was. It's the best for everybody, because a $5 million fee or £5 million fee this year, and then theoretically we get the money next year if Stuttgart can afford it. That's right, because Stuttgart could get relegated. But I'm glad he's gone. We haven't missed him so far. Obviously, he's a great talent, and some of the, I just probably one of the best player we have, probably. But if his attitude sucks, you've got to get rid of him. But yeah, $5 million loan fee, if that's right, and it goes in this year's PSR, and then the fee next year takes care of PSI. So rather than getting money now, if we'd sold him, it would all go in this year. But we got the best of both worlds with the $5 million, which is a lot for a loan, right? And then the money next year. So all good. I'm happy. We may miss him, but he wasn't consistent enough. I mean, he obviously had a lot of quality, but he's still, So my point of view, I'm happy with what we've got now. Perfect.
Mark, what do you think?
I'm just glad to see the back of the whole ordeal. I mean, it's just become a circus, right? For the last few weeks, days with Bilal, and initially it was will he go, will he won't? Has he got a release clause? Has he not? And he has, and no one's willing to meet it. And then, okay, we're certainly going to get 35 plus million for him. And then no one's coming in for him other than Palace didn't want to pay that. And then he starts throwing his toys out the pram, and suddenly all becomes a big hoo-ha. So I think for me, it is what it is. The fee is what we've got. Let's move on, draw a line in the sand. We go on to big and better things without Bilal. And happy days. Glass half full for me.
Yeah. Manny, what did you think?
I didn't particularly mind the structure of the deal, actually, because you very, very rarely get all the money up front these days anyway. It's always in installments. So we probably would have only got 5 million this year, and then 5 million, and that could spread it across 5 years. So I think the objective is we were trying to raise enough money to pay for the loan fees for the 3 individuals we brought in today. The wages would have been covered because we've lost so many bodies, so we had enough space in the squad for the wages. But the actual cash that you have to front up, we were probably a bit short. And so the loan fee was enough to cover those 3, so that works fine. There is still a scenario that he comes back to, is if he doesn't fulfill the conditions of the obligation, then if he doesn't, say if he gets injured, say if he does his ACL, in his first 14 games, he's going to be our player next season. That's still the case. But, I mean, I think, actually, he's been badly advised here. He's kicked up a stink. And, I mean, I just don't see the point of ending up in Stuttgart. I mean...
yeah.
That's a strange one, yeah. I mean,
nobody else wanted him, did they? I mean, I don't know. Did anybody else want him at this last minute?
We'll never know.
It comes down to views.
You'll never know.
Think, if you are the best player in the Championship, then the best player in the Championship was last year. I think it was KDH and Somerville when we were there, sorry. But ended up at West Ham and Chelsea. The big boys. Where did Leicester normally sell their best players? Normally sell them to Chelsea or Man City or a Man United or a big boy. And I think if he'd have just ridden through it and said, I'm going to get my head down, I'm guaranteed to play here, I'll be a star here. But I think from his point, the clinching factor was he wanted to be in a top league in a year when they've got AFCON and a year particularly when they've got the World Cup.
Yeah.
But as a player, we've lost a good player, there's no doubt. I don't think there's anything... I think Abdul will be a much bigger loss, to be honest. I think this guy's the output was, the quality plays there, the linking's there, the work rate's there, but could have had more goals, could have had more assists. Abdul can just be quiet for 18 minutes and then top corner, 1-0, 2-1, winner. Yeah. And Bilal didn't do that particularly enough. I don't know much about the new guy, so a lot of it we'll find out if it's a good decision, if the new guy is capable. If the new guy is substandard, then I still think we've got an option of putting Jeremy Monga there. One of my favourite things is Jeremy Monga at 10. I think that's where I'll end up. But you know what? The guy acted like such a... Am I allowed to say bad words on this stream, Craig?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's acting like such a cock. Like, honestly,
Oh, but not that word. Not that word.
No, we're good.
No,
I say a lot worse than that.
What a dickhead, honestly.
Yeah,
like,
there you go.
You know what? If you're going to be a dickhead, you can do one. Just go. Yeah. Just go on your way. Okay, it's a reasonable deal. If in 12 months' time, we might get a 25 million euro or pound or whatever it is whirlwind, and on our way to the Premier League. Wouldn't that be handy? We could buy another Oliver Skip with that money.
Oh God! Don't put that out in the universe, man.
All right, we also had some other loans going out. I don't think there was really any surprise other than maybe Alves, but I mean Baybrook, Apoko, and Koulibaly, who we've never seen play basically.
Oh, well,
But I mean, any thoughts on here? Because we talked about, we've always talked about, hey, let's play the youth. We're in the championship. Let's build these guys up so when we get promoted. Is there any thoughts on that? Maybe we should have kept Alves and or any of these other players to help strengthen us.
I think it'll benefit Alves more. To be honest with you, I think out of everybody, he's the one that the other three you showed there, they all make sense. But Alves was for me borderline during pre-season. You're thinking, all right, is this the season he's going to really push on, but how does he get that chance, right? And I think if we don't do any business in the transfer window, then he stays, and he's going to be given a chance. But I think it makes sense. It's a good move for him. I mean, Grant's doing a good job at Huddersfield. They're going to be up there this season, so he's going to get a lot of game time. But I think this will be his last loan. I mean, and then they really need to make a decision on Will Alves. I think then, if we go up, I think it may be then too late for him. I think, how do you then, unless he's like he just rips League One apart, and he really, I don't know. I just don't see how you, at that point, if you get into the Premier League, how do you transition Will Alves into that team then, other than just an occasional sub? So is that what he wants at that point?
Well, is him being loaned out also an opportunity for him to show what he can do, so that we can make him more valuable when we go, right, that we might possibly sell him, simply because he's just not going to fit into the system or whatever it is, or maybe we see that he's not going to be the player he wants to be, and we're going to try to get the most out of it we can. I mean,
he's not a player that ends up in the Premier League for me. He's not a Premier League quality player. So Craig just said it. You put him in the shop window, a good club that wins most weeks, to hopefully make him look good. And Huddersfield should be in the top 3 in that league. With a view of selling him, he'll never be anywhere near our first team, or even as a bench player. If there's 20 minutes to go, you're either trying to get back into a game or hold on to a game. And in either of those scenarios, he's not the player that's going to do anything exciting for you. I think there was a setback with his injury, of course. We'll never know what he maybe could have been. But unfortunately, this summer pre-season was your chance. If you couldn't impress Marty enough to make him think that I want you, when 16 and 17-year-olds are doing enough to make Marty think that I want you, then unfortunately, and this whole wave of those players, the Casey, Luke Thomas, Braybrook, this guy, of course, and I think all of those players were from a different gen of youth. That whole gen's kind of had its chance. Some of them suffered injuries. I would just be looking to cash out and take whatever I could from them and move on with other players.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, anything else we need to discuss before we wrap this up? Because we don't do 6 hours here, man. I'm sorry. That's just not something we do.
Man is ready for the break.
I'm ready to do another 3 hours. Let's go.
Let's keep going. If you want to keep going, I'll keep going.
Thankfully, I have a very tolerant wife, thankfully. But it's a busy time of the year, It's just so much going on, and particularly this day for us, there's always stuff to go over. But it's hard not to keep churning over the same thoughts and ideas and be repetitive. Yeah. So That's the problem with it. But what about something different? How did you find? I mean, I know you said it's a long time ago, but I couldn't quite remember. I want to ask Craig, how did you find Leicester?
It was I started watching Premier League about 15, 16 years ago, and it's never latched onto a team. And then one day I came across a match. I didn't know who it was. I was just watching. I had one of those streaming services that had like every soccer match in the world, right? And I was just flipping through them, and I came across one. I just liked the way they played, and it turned out to be Leicester. And
who was the manager at the time? Do you remember?
It was the year they won the championship in 2013. Was it 2013?
Lloyd Dyers. Yeah, Lloyd Dyers. I love Lloyd Dyers.
So I just latched onto him, and then of course, the next season was the Great Escape in the Premier League.
What a time to bump into us, huh?
Yeah. I mean, because
we win the Premier League every year, right?
Yeah, it was. Well, the thing was, and here in the States, everybody goes with who's popular, right? Because I mean, everybody's very fickle here in the States, right? So they go with the United, they go with the Chelsea, they go with an Arsenal, whatever it is. And so I admittedly knew who I didn't like, which was United and Chelsea, right? I just knew off the bat, The closest, I won't tell you the closest I got. There was one team I was like, I kind of like these guys. They had a couple of players I really liked.
You can tell us.
Liverpool.
Well, it's a lot to fall in love with Liverpool, I think.
Yeah, that was when Gerrard was there and Skirtle was their center back, and I love those type of guys. He was really cool. I really loved him, which is why I identify with like Morgan and Huth and all those guys. I really like. But anyway,
so you like the tough guys.
Yeah, I do. I like the guys who are the quiet, unappreciative, right? They do a job. They just grind and grind and grind and grind. And they do the dirty work.
Hard man is not something he's ever been described as, man.
I'm not sure it'd go that far.
Skip, enforcer. It's not something you've ever heard before.
He grinds and grinds.
Exactly.
Maybe he's an enforcer. If he went to Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, he could enforce the other Oompa Loompas.
So was Wes Morgan? Was Wes Morgan then? When you start.
I think no, I don't think. I think
came later.
Who came later? Morgan was there, but who came later? But those are the guys I like. And that's kind of why I was like Liverpool and the rest of my. As soon as I saw Chelsea play, I was like, I hate that team. I hate them. I don't like them. I don't want anything to do with them. And it probably had more to do with Diego Costa than anything else, because that guy's just a fucking asshole. And so it probably had to do with who Diego Costa is. He's the guy you hate the most, and when he's on the opposite team, but he's the guy you love the most when he's on your team.
Playing for you,
right?
Like Robbie Savage.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, that's how I ended up with Leicester. So and it's just been
good for you. Good for you. And apart from those first few years, we had a good period for quite a while.
Yeah.
So this is your first period of suffering.
No,
last year,
yeah. 2 years. 2 years.
So I mean, for most of that season, we were like top of the whole championship. You've never faced the bottom half of the championship yet, have you?
Oh, no.
Let's hope we don't have to, but...
Well, the Great Escape...
Dealing with it
the Great Escape. He was for the Great Escape, right?
Well, that was Premier League.
Premier League.
Yeah.
But then we were so far away, and then we won,
yeah, that was crazy.
5 of the last 8 or something.
Yeah. 8, so 7 and 9.
7 of our last 9 we won. 7 and 2 draws.
Yeah, 7 and 9. Yeah, exactly. So that was the great thing about it, because you talking about being depressed trying to watch that. And you're in last place, and you're whatever it was, 12 points out of relegation and everything. And just all of a sudden they went on this run, and it was amazing, and. It was very exciting. That was a very exciting time, and it was very exciting to be, new to the team and new to a fan. So it was really good for me, and it was just another reason that got me hooked into to football, to European football over American football.
Well, I'll give you one warning. My father used to say, being a football supporter is 95% pain, 5% fun. You've had your 5% fun, so you might have a lot of pain to come.
So I mean, it goes to say, being a fan, you stick with your team, right? And I think that's another reason why I've really started gearing towards, European football, is because over here, everybody flip-flops all the time. Who's your favorite? Well, it's this one. It's your flavor of the week. And even if your team's not doing well, then they just leave them. If they're doing well, they're bandwagon. Call them bandwagons, right? And so that's one of the reasons I really love it over watching this, because they stick with the team no matter what. And, they're like, we support the team. Maybe we don't support the owner. We don't support the manager. We don't, over here, it's just like, if your team's losing, they'll go, okay, well, I'll just go find some other team to do, or I'll go find some other sport to watch. Hey, F1's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plastics,
They're like, hey,
plastic.
yeah, exactly.
Plastic.
When I was at Enfield on Boxing Day, that was the one thing I was sitting there with all the Leicester fans every time about calling all the Liverpool fans tourists. Right, because and so I thought that was that was the first time I'd ever heard that. So, but it's very true, and it's very true in the States, by the way. It's very fickle here. I call it fickle, call it bandwagon, call it plastics, what you call it. And, but it's one of the reasons I identified with European and how much I like it now more so than American football.
And I was going to ask all three of you actually, and when did you start plugging into blue tinted glasses and what Locks was doing over there? When did you stumble across us?
First thing when he stuck first thing, I think, because didn't he used to be associated or do guest appearances on another channel?
Yeah, right? Locks used to be for years on Leicester Fan TV with them, but then they had a bit of a fallout.
I was following Leicester Fan TV, and that's when he kept popping up with the other guys, and then from day one, really, for me.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I don't. How many years ago is that? Like 4 years ago, maybe.
What? Blue tinted glasses?
Yeah.
No.
12 and a half months.
Yeah, it's been within a year. Because it was one of the things we talked about. One of the things I had talked about was like, how did he go from like a couple of hundred subscribers in that first month to like 5,000 in 2 months, and then 25,000 after 12 months. So.
Ignore my 4 years because it's not that, but I thought it was at least 2. I thought it was
you that much. It
was last. I remember following and getting on last August, and right after it started, because it didn't have a whole lot of followers at that time. It was just you guys were just getting it going and everything. Yeah. And it was funny because you could see if you want to know the progression, watch the progression of the graphics. Because it went from very, very basic, which is what we kind of have right here, to this. Holy crap! I don't know I can't even figure out what he's got going on. I know he's paying. You guys are paying somebody. I don't know what's going on, but anyway, I can't do that shit. So but you could tell by the graphics, the more subscribers, the more popular, the more you get into, and then the content also. You doing things every day. Blue Tin guys doing things every day. So.
Who would have thought there's actually enough to talk about every day, but you manage to squeeze a kind of hour out most days. It's just
always something with Leicester.
Well, it's just nice that people seem to be enjoying it from our end. We obviously love doing it, and there's no other motivation than just to try to talk about the game that we all love and stuff. And I'm glad that the audience seems to have responded well to it, and I know everybody's well motivated to keep going and just keep pushing and like the team, and hopefully be back in the big leagues next year.
Well, we'll see about that. Hey, one other quick business we got to talk about. Do we want to talk about Vardy real quick? Because it looks like he's joined another club. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
Rebecca okayed that one. Where is that place? Is it Milan?
It's just below Milan.
South of Milan.
South of Milan.
Gucci and Hermes and Hermes is French. Forget that. Gucci and all those like.
So it reminded me of this right here, where King Leicester said he's talking about his teams are Leicester, Stuttgart, and Roma. It turns out that on November 23rd, they're playing a home match against Roma, and so I'm talking to a guy over there. I'm sorry, where you're at, Manny. And we're trying to work the logistics of actually going to the Leicester match on Saturday, then going to Italy on Sunday to see Vardy play.
Oh, that'd be massive.
It's a little.
I think it's feasible, very feasible.
Yeah. Well, it was so funny.
If you can get an early flight in the morning, and
they sell out. The Cremonese sell out their games because I know they've only got a 20,000 capacity.
Yeah,
they will do now.
The first thing I said was like, "Can we get tickets?" He's like, "I'll work on it." But he also messaged me. He goes, "Hey, well, I said, how do talking about getting there?" He goes, "Well, there's a flight at 6 a.m." I was like, "Well, you do realize 6 a.m. is midnight for me." You know, I mean, here in Texas, 6 a.m. in the UK is midnight in Texas. So I'm like, you know, I guess I can just pull an all-nighter, you know, or whatever. So, but we'll see. But so anyway, it's on the table, you know, because I'll be at the match on the 22nd.
I bet there'll be a few Leicester fans getting over there.
Yeah. So
October the 22nd.
November.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm sure it'll be a lovely trip. They'll have a really nice old ground, and it'll be a quaint town, and they'll go be Vardy mad, and the food's awesome. And
I've already got a shirt, so I can wear this one. So you know.
Then the game will be 0-0. that's what I usually. So I flew to Madrid to watch Zidane, Ronaldo, Figo, Hierro, Redondo playing in the Madrid derby. You know, and the other side had I think they might have had a young Fernando Torres at like 17. I think. I was like, oh, what a game! With all these beautiful players. 0-0. Oh my God.
Yeah, but it was probably still exciting just to be there, right? It was all about the experience.
It's the experience. It's not just the game, is it? It's the
what year was that?
It's a few beers afterwards, several beers. You know, it's the several beers afterwards, a few beers before. It's the whole weekend.
What year was that? What year was that, Manny?
2000 and I'm gonna say 5. I think it would have been.
Was that before? That was after the scandals, right? Where they got all the betting scandals.
Oh, you mean the Atletico Madrid scandals? You mean?
No, I mean I'm talking about the Italian league, yeah, where they fixed Juventus got knocked down to this 3rd division, and they were bribing.
It happened with Atletico Madrid. If you remember, it's Leicester related. Leicester. If you remember your history, their president was Jesus Gil, who was one of the most corrupt presidents in football history, who was also the president in 1997 when they played Leicester City in the then UEFA Cup. And Mark will remember that we lost to a dodgy penalty away where Juninho dived, and Gary Parker got red carded at home for second yellow for taking our own free kick too quickly.
The referee was
I do remember that. Yeah.
How do you get a booking for taking your own free kick too quickly? Impossible.
Yeah,
and then we found out that Jesus Gil had a range of referees across Europe and Spain that he had been basically paying off.
Yeah, it was.
So we
remember that game.
We got shafted out of Europe
on a smoggy night. I think it was all the fireworks that were going off. I remember it. So
we won the League Cup then to get into Europe? I guess that's when Martin O'Neill days.
That was after We won at Hillsborough the year before.
All right. Oh, well, we're gonna wrap things up here because we've already been doing this for a while, and yeah, Manny, some wives aren't as forgiving as yours. So, but hey, if you like what you hear, like and subscribe. We appreciate it. Manny, thank you for joining. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Manny.
And we'll see you guys soon.
A pleasure.
Yeah, see you guys soon next time on Foxes on the Box. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Yeah.